Mike Mallen. I am the Manager of Pro Services here at Abacode Cybersecurity and Compliance, and I'm here to talk about Log4j. Yeah, so Log4j, it's an open source Java logging library. It's developed by the Apache Foundation. It's widely used everywhere in a lot of different applications, and it's integrated as a dependency in a variety of different services. As many people already know, by the time of this video shoot, December 9th, a critical severity unauthenticated remote code execution vulnerability was dropped regarding Log4j. It is being designated as Log4Shell. The CVE is CVE 2021-44228. And again, at the time of this recording, there has been a number of other CVEs dropped downstream from this, right? So the disclosure, as far as I can understand, it was an Alibaba cloud security engineer who actually responsibly disclosed the vulnerability, directly to the Log4j developers, so that they could, actively work on a patch. I think it was about 3 days before the vulnerability went public. Now, it did go public on GitHub and Twitter, and I think that was on the 9th. So there was actual proof of concept code out there that people could go and grab and check out. The last thing you want to hear as a defender or an asset owner in this space is critical severity unauthenticated remote code execution. That's a day ruiner for sure. Basically what that means is that an adversary will almost certainly be able to run any code of their choosing on your systems, right? When the news for this initially dropped on the 9th, I was actually lucky enough to see the InfoSec Twitter feed as it started to blow up, right? Kind of got in on the ground floor there and saw how this evolved in real time. It was really fascinating to see. You could see that everybody realized, oh wait, Log4j, logging in Java, Apache, wait, this is everywhere. And you could see as it went on hour by hour that this all escalated pretty quickly. And again, everybody realized that it was everywhere. Even if you don't use Java necessarily in your tech stack, you more than likely have some SaaS providers that have it and are more than likely affected by it. It's a library. You can't 100% confirm via a list of installed programs or software. I mean, the jar file could be anywhere. Again, it's open source software, so it can be compiled by anybody. Hash lists don't necessarily work well for this one. And it's not just web servers that are vulnerable. At the time of this video, we're about a week in from disclosure, about 10 days or so, and all the avenues of attack are still being researched. And you'd like to see that when something like this happens, it's kind of a crowdsourced enumeration. Everybody's kind of going out and seeing what is affected and disclosing it. But again, it's widespread. We don't really know, all of the avenues of attack that people can take. Day by day, people are discovering more and more things. They released 2 patches for Log4j because people kept breaking it, and the vulnerability will be researched, I think, throughout the entire year. So basically, how it works, long and short of it, is a specially crafted payload is injected into headers, input fields, or query or body parameters for affected apps, right? So if you have maybe just a standalone application or a web application that maybe has a username field or a search field, you can inject some of this code into it. You can basically, the entire vulnerability is centered around command injection for Log4j, right? So if you send that input into, like I said, the standalone application or a web application, for example, it's going to generate logs. Any type of application library, Java or Ruby or Perl, they're going to have libraries that are implemented to take care of the logging for you. The issue with Log4j is that you can insert a JNDI function, Java Naming and Directory Interface command. JNDI is actually an API. You can insert that into the middle of the text, and the logging service will interpret that for you. So you can have that data go into an application's input field, like I said, username field, search field, and code can be executed. The logging library should just handle it as text or log data and not do anything else with it, but it doesn't. It executes the string. So Log4j reads the JNDI, so you can enter maybe an LDAP command and tell it to query an external server and execute code. Kind of see where we're going with this, right? To add insult to injury there, all of this can be obfuscated too, right? So you can't just go and filter for JNDI on your web server logs or your application logs at the perimeter of your environment. It's much more difficult because it is a logging facility. It has the ability to parse different types of encoding, right? So you can encode or obfuscate your command injection, which makes it that much harder for defenders and for string searching, like maybe an IDS would do. In the wake of the vulnerability being disclosed, a lot of our intel guys started tracking it. We saw at the outset some crypto miners taking advantage of this, kind of an initial access, and anybody else who was kind of financially motivated regarding that cryptocurrency mining scam they were among the first to kind of exploit this vulnerability at large. As we go along with this, obviously we're going to see some data theft, we're going to see some ransomware, and we're going to see all manner of different types of extortion. They're all sure to follow here, as actors such as that are known to incorporate these 0 days and 1 day exploits into their operations. As of the published date of this video, we actually have uncovered evidence of exploitation by China and Iranian state actors. Microsoft actually observed this exploitation in other countries as well. Again, with things like this, it happens pretty quickly, and we see some of the big players in the adversary world take advantage of a lot of this stuff. And again, due to the urgency of identifying and patching vulnerable applications with Log4j, on December 17th, CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, instituted Emergency Directive 22-02, which will require civilian federal agencies to identify and mitigate impacted assets by December 23rd, 2021, or remove them from agency networks. So we're taking some pretty deep steps to try to mitigate this and take a look at this. And you're finding that with vulnerabilities like this, history kind of repeats itself. Things like this aren't really anything new. Looking back at similar vulnerabilities like this, Shell Shock comes to mind, or maybe Heartbleed back in 2014, or even Apache Struts in 2019. These vulnerabilities are going to keep happening every couple of years. Shouldn't panic here. These are going to keep showing up. They're going to continue to show up in the future. And we should be kind of retaining the lessons learned as we go through these exercises to mitigate and fix these things when they drop. I think with this one, it's going to become its own class of vulnerability. We're going to see a lot of downstream issues because of Log4Shell. And I believe, in the months to come, we're going to have some even more severe, issues to come from this, right? Again, no real reason to panic here. This is what we do. That's what Abacode does. We respond to incidents, and we protect people's assets in the cybersecurity realm. right? For more information on how you can remain compliant and secure your organization, reach out to Abacode.